started. Oh, and it's going. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Our podcast is starting because we need a break from me
Oh my
tormenting her
God.
over horrible food I plot to put in my next book.
Look, she's writing a book about the future of us all, and she had to add bad food. Now, look, I would object to the premise of a book that has evil in it, but how are you going to have evil and bad food, Crystal? And bad food, ma'am.
It just shows you how evil the world is. I mean, I told you I'm making a biscuit with barely cooked eggplant and salty avocado sauce.
Crystal, evil food is not allowed. I will review that book and I will write it had bad food. 1 star. I will 1 star for bad food. I don't care.
Well, in all fairness, this is 1-star food. Quality story, 1-star food.
I need to have good food.
Well, I'm sorry, but this book has terrible food right now. It's basically the poor get the bad food and the rich people get the good food. The system works.
But at least we have some good. Anyways, besides Crystal trying to torment her readers, so now please buy the book and then let her know that bad food is not acceptable in an evil universe. Moving on, welcome.
Yeah, if you want to know what we're complaining about, just check for my book, True Love for Christmas, which is coming out this December.
Welcome to As the Pages Turn, you guys. I am Mia.
And I am Crystal. Well, I'm Madam Crystal Butterfly.
And we are going to talk. We're back to book topics today. We do actually have a political, so it's fun. We are now professional podcasters because we do have a political update from our last episode. So for any book people, pause here if you don't really want to hear the political update. And then as soon as the video starts again, we'll have a little thing blip to let you know.
Well, I'll put a timestamp to where we're out of the politics. Okay. There's a timestamp right here. If you don't want to hear us say political anything, go to this time in the video.
Perfect. So our update, it's actually not a bad update. It's a good update. Disney had 3 days of people putting pressure on them. And well, actually like a week, pretty much solid, where the website crashed numerous times because people were canceling their Hulu and Disney subscriptions.
And I believe they lost $7 billion. That's billion
lost a lot of money over the fact that Jimmy Kimmel was canceled. And so Disney, of course, was like, okay, wait a minute, the government versus money, and the money won. So you guys did a good job. You got them, and they brought Kimmel back. And then Kimmel had a great episode. It was very touching. Like he cried at a couple of different points. He talked about how, like, obviously, because if you hear the words he said, nothing was bad in what he said. He literally was just saying, these people are politicizing this for this reason. And then people got mad at him for saying that. And it's like, but it was wild. So anyways, they were using him as a scapegoat. And so, of course, the president of the United States had to tweet about it on his little Truth Social bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
To talk about how,
big rant.
Yeah. And to talk about how he had to, and how Jimmy Kimmel shouldn't come back and blah, blah, blah. Lots of blah, blah, blah. I won't get into it. I don't respect him. I don't need to say his words. But summarize, he don't like it. He's a big crybaby. This is literally, what is this year that we literally have a president who is complaining that his FCC chair who effed up and got this guy banned for no reason, and now the guy is back. The president, who shouldn't even really have time to do this shit, honestly, somehow has enough time to complain at, 3 a.m. in the morning about how he's back and I'm so mad. It's ridiculous. It is like, you can't, this timeline is wild. So anyways.
All I'm going to say is welcome to Gilead.
It's not quite there, but we're getting, it's on a track. But anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel is back. He talked about it. He had blowout ratings. However, it wasn't aired everywhere. It actually was not aired in Washington, D.C., and several other states because of Sinclair, who was so mad that he was back on air. They refused to let him be on and put in Family Feud, I guess. So Anyways, I will say though, it's very interesting to see that like the people came out, the people were like, and to be fair, I will give 5 seconds of credit to the other side because sorry, not the it's really not it's all clusterfucks on all sides, but
Yeah,
to
it's
the
true.
Republican side, there was enough Republican commentators, Joe Rogan, Ted Cruz. I don't like his ass.
I
And
know
several,
it's difficult to say. These
I
people piss
can't.
you the hell off every other day. Well, really every fucking
Anyways,
second.
Joe Rogan and the man who was in Cancun while his state froze, let's just say that, they actually talked about the fact how, especially the person who was in Cancun when his state froze, was talking about how, like, look, I don't like this guy, but you can't be going after him for this. So for all of those commentators who have just been ridiculous on every subject, I did want to say I appreciated that they actually, whether it was fear for their own jobs in case this shit comes back to haunt
it's fear
them,
for their own jobs, let's be honest.
but I appreciated the fact that they actually spoke up. I will give
I appreciate that they spoke up and didn't fold like a little whiny baby like they usually do, which I expect them to actually do in the next 5 minutes over something dumb as hell that they should stand up and say no.
But they knew if they didn't say something that you know what? What's interesting is, what is that old saying? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yeah. I mean, you're going to let this stand, then you're going to have to let it stand if, say, something happens where this happens with an alternate government. Which hopefully would never fucking happen, but there's with the way this year is going, I'm expecting a black hole to open.
With the way this year is going, you better hope the events in my book don't come true.
I'm just saying, bad food on top of anyways. Okay, update. Jimmy Kimmel is back. Everybody is happy on this. Everything else is on fire, but we'll talk about that next episode. Let's get to our book episode. Crystal.
Yay, we get to talk about the books, and in this one, we are not happy about it. We wish we could bring you guys like a thrilling breakout book that was so good. We're just raving about it and talking about the wonderful. But we don't get that lucky when it comes to book news. No, it's only the horrible ones that make the real news.
We will make it up to you because we have some interviews. We're going to have Silas Seabrook, Derek Moore. We're going to have a lot of people. We have a lot of authors.
We're even going to have author Peter Okonkwo, who is actually doing an initiative to help get more books in the hands of readers, which will be happening in the future, and updates with that in the future.
We have a lineup. We have a lot of talented authors we know, other authors we don't know who are interested in doing this. And we did. We actually got, let's do a quick update for us. We actually got our Google form done. Crystal just has to check it off, I think, is where we're at. So Crystal,
I did check it off. I just told you I'd take another look at it, but it looks good.
All right, so we got a Google form ready. We're gonna push it, and actually, if you are a booktuber as well, please, we will link the form down below. Please apply and by the way, this is not just for authors,
voice actors and editors as well, and artists. Let's not forget the artists, musical and painting.
But you went ahead. You're 5 seconds ahead of me, Crystal.
Well, I jump on it when the iron is hot. Keep up.
Look, woman, calm down with your bad food. So we want everybody. We want booktubers. We want TikTok people. We want authors, editors, illustrators, artists. You name it. We love it. We want to see it. And hey, if you're doing something new and interesting, heck, I'd even be willing to have like animators and game people on, because I'm a game girl. So is Crystal. So really, if you have anything interesting you're doing that could pertain to a book or a book genre, fucking hit us up. We're here for it. We love it.
Yeah. We're here for it. We love the creativity.
We love books. Okay. We're a little bit book crazy here. But
that's because we spend all day writing them.
Right. That's true. Especially this weekend, me and Crystal have been crunching on our books. So I think me and her have spent the last 3 days in lives.
That's because we have till November to finish both of them.
I know.
Me and I have set ourselves a release date. Mine's releasing in December, but it has to be done by November, and so does Mia. yes. Ooh.
I know. So we are trying hard. I'm really proud of myself. And sorry, last brag before we get to the subject. I'm up to 44.5K. I'm on my ball part. Okay. So if you don't know what a ball is, think Bridgerton with dragon shifters. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm working on right now. And there's a bad guy scene.
And I'm really excited for you. But you guys got to wish me luck. I've only made to page 40 in my book. Oh, boy.
So this week, Crystal, you and me, we'll work on we'll have productivity lives. We'll body double, get some shit done.
Yeah, this week is going to be hardcore about the productivity. I got to finish my next book review on the cruelty of magic, in addition to getting to page 100 of my book.
We got to work on it. So
yeah, we got to work.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're both working on. And we're also still doing podcast stuff. Me and Crystal are always doing something. But
we do too much. On to the Winters woman.
So today's topic is Age of Scorpius by Audra Winters. And actually, I have been trying to avoid talking. I think I've maybe made one post on my talk about this because what I kind of saw when I first kind of delved into it, and if you don't know the situation, I'll give you a catch up because this is like a 6-act play that's still going on. Okay, we have a young
when we talk
author.
About this again, it'll probably a 20-act play.
Right. So just to preface for anybody who doesn't know and hasn't heard about it, Age of Scorpius, there's this author, Audra Winters. That's her pseudonym. She is 22. She's literally been going on she's been on TikTok since 2021. And she's been working for a couple of years to get an agent, to get this book out. It's her World of Guardian with an AR, not UAR. Okay. And she's been working on this fantasy book, Age of Scorpius, and it has to do with zodiac signs and all this kind of stuff. And people are really excited. And this is the solid credit that I think me and Crystal can both, and a lot of authors have given her. She's a young author. This is her first book. And she did a really fucking good job with marketing.
Her marketing is solid. Wow. I wish I could hire her for marketing. I don't want her to ever write anything for me. But marketing, yes. I wish she could be my marketing agent.
I mean, she had pre-orders out starting in April of 2025. She had the book published June 30th, and she literally had so many people hyped up that, according to something we'll be talking about later in the podcast, she sold something like at least 7,000 books, or 7,800 products, but I think it's like 6,000 to 7,000 books on pre-orders, which is a lot. Like, I don't ever think. I haven't done pre-orders per se yet, but I haven't known a lot of people in our circles to have that many pre-orders. So that is a lot. Okay. And she's a young writer. She talked a lot. She has some awesome artwork. That's also something that people have given her a lot of credit for. She has awesome artwork for her book series, her book cover, her artwork that she's shown for it. And I don't know that it's hers per se. I think she's talked about how she has a team of, I think it was like 20 something people. Give me a minute. Something like she had 2 editors and maybe it was like 15 or 16 people. Supposedly she had this big team.
That was a number. I don't fully remember we've been going through a lot of reports and stuff to get all the facts, which we will link down below.
Yes. Yeah. And it was very interesting because, they talk about the book had, let's not talk about its rating right now, but the book had really good marketing skills. People were pre-ordering this book in droves. She did an awesome job. Admittedly, everybody agrees on this. Readers, authors, critics, even people who are not happy with her now actions agree that her marketing strategy was fucking on point. Her artwork fucking on point. Everything else is kind of a disaster.
It's crap. I'll get into this later about the person who I was listening to read the book, but it's just crap.
It is. And so what it is that everybody was hyped up about this book. A lot of readers were eager. She was getting thousands of views on her videos. At least, I think the lowest view count I saw was 700. And honestly, I think my highest view count has been 800, but that was on a political video on my other account. I don't think as an author I've ever had 800 views of a video. So a low count of 500 to 700 views is awesome. Okay, that's a lot of people. And when you're talking thousands of people are seeing this, a lot of readers were ready. People had pre-ordered, people were ready. And then the book came out June 30th. And this was a problem because up until this point, everything Audra had talked about, she kind of talked about how she'd spent 10 years developing this. She had 2 editors. She had all these people on her team with the artwork and this and that. And then the book comes out. And I think the nicest thing I heard about it was she's a new author. It's her first book, because a lot of people were disappointed. A lot of readers were disappointed and upset. They spent all this money.
There were people who wanted to give her a pass. They were like, listen, she's a new author. A lot of brand new authors write shitty books thinking it's good when they put it out on the market, which, you know, I get that. But even so, a lot of new authors write crappy books at first. It's not all of us, but there are those who do, who later write better books because they learn their lesson. But you've got to take, you know, the criticisms people give you, especially if it's a large amount. You need to see, well, what am I doing wrong here? But she don't want to do that.
Well, and that was the other part of the problem, because once readers started getting it and other people who had ordered this book to see what all the hype was about, once people started reading it, a lot of the commentary was that it was not done right. It was not edited correctly. It didn't have, I mean, and this is something that kind of struck me as sad, because I am a fantasy author. I'm also a fantasy reader. I fucking love fantasy.
Well, we both just adore the fantasy. That's why we keep writing it.
I can't even tell you. I mean, Mercedes Lackey, for one, is an awesome fantasy author. I cannot tell you how many times I've read her books, because the imagery of the creatures and the world, like, I just fucking love it. And when I one of the comments I saw, and this wasn't just authors, these were readers. There were a lot of people who said that this fantasy book lacked imagery. Now, artwork, great, but what lacking imagery means, for anybody who may not understand that, and maybe isn't a fantasy reader, okay? Fantasy books, a lot of times why we fantasy readers love our fantasy books is it's not just the characters, right? It's not just the awesome creatures that people come up with. It's the idea of this world with all this stuff that we've never seen, and authors describing it in such a way that, like, it yanks you into it. Like, for example, I'm going to use Mercedes Lackey again. She wrote this series about griffins. And if you don't know, this is like a magical lion, eagle creature. It's a mythological creature. And she put it in her Magic Valdemar series, okay? And if you read her books, you like, not only do you see the griffin in your head, but like you see all of these awesome parts of, like, the griffins are magic, the griffins are telepathic, da-da-da-da-da. You see all these interactions with the humans, and you get this solid picture in your head of, oh, it's a black griffin, it's telepathic, it bonds, blah, 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 and it's just a fascinating world. And so when somebody tells me that a fantasy book doesn't have imagery, I mean, that's kind of the basis of the series, honestly.
I mean, even if you can't see it, you're supposed to feel like you're seeing, like, some time ago, this was more for a lit horror thing, but, well, the person made a horror story out of it. I was participating in an anthology with our friend EA, and one of the authors for the anthology wrote a story that was so creepy, like with the whole body snatchers thing.
Yeah.
He did such a good job where when he was reading his story, it's not a matter of I heard the words, I could feel like I was there.
Yeah.
And he was talking about somebody getting grabbed and the whole body stature thing getting forced down his throat. I had to literally clench my mouth because he wrote it so well that I could feel like something gross was going down my throat. That's supposed to happen when you read a story. You get grabbed. Like you're in that moment. You are there. You can literally see it. You can feel it. That's good writing.
Yeah.
To protect what a person loves most, sometimes they have to hide it or them. Sadly, not all secrets get to remain secret forever. Realms, the Hidden Fairy, available now.
And so the thing is that it came out, it did not have a good response. In fact, what I'm hearing, like what I'm reading on this, is that Goodreads ratings went from like a 2 to 3 star rating to 2-star within 48 hours. And it even went so bad that Goodreads restricted further ratings. Winter went then and removed the Kindle preview, citing rushed. And by the way, she talks about a lot how she had 2 editors, right? And so she went to Kindle and removed the Kindle preview, citing rushed editing. And so critics were like, wait, so did you do this so that readers can't leave negative reviews? Because at this point, bad reviews are popping up on Amazon, they're popping up on Goodreads, and people were demanding refunds. Now, what is interesting? Oh, and sorry, the other problem with the book, the imagery was a big problem. The other problem was info dumping, which, as someone who has done this, because I love to be a wordy bitch, info dumping is, if you don't know what info dumping is, basically
it's a problem.
It is a problem. It's like, so for example, and I actually did this in one of my chapters of my Dragon Shifter book. I was kind of talking about some information about the society, and I actually had an author friend of mine look at it because I was like, I feel like this is info dumping. Is this info dumping? Tell me for real. And so my author friend was very sweet. She read it and she basically said, no, that's info dumping. And I'm like, okay, that's what I thought. So I had to go back and take a bunch of it out because info dumping is where you're writing. And so my example, I'll use myself, is that I had like the kind of the society of my Dragon Shifter book is that if you have to kind of work for a living. It's basically based in a medieval period, but you have to work for a living. And there's different requirements and blah, blah, blah. And so I had put a lot of this information kind of into the first chapter. And then I was looking at it and I'm like, why am I having such a hard time with this? And so again, I had my friend read it, blah, blah, blah. And she literally was like, no, you're kind of info dumping there. Like, this is stuff that you can show in the world as you go on. You don't need to tell them in the first chapter, which I appreciated. So I ended up rewriting my whole first chapter and taking a lot of that out because that is stuff of like, oh, hey, I don't need to tell the reader in the first chapter that these kids have to work. They'll know that. They'll see that as chapters
they'll experience it as you go deeper into the story. Because I think I was complaining to you about cutting 5 pages of my book because I literally did what you did.
Yeah. So it's info dumping can be, I mean, I think there's a lot of authors who have problems with it. And a lot of times you catch this during editing because you'll have an editor who will be like, why don't you show this? Not tell the reader, show it in a scene, show it with action.
Yeah, show don't tell is a very big thing with writing because you're supposed to show it in a way that feels natural and your character is experiencing. If you just tell that stuff, then, you might as well just let your book be a fictional dictionary.
Right. And then the other kind of editorial issues that were mentioned was repetitive phrasing, which is a bitch for all of us, by the way. Inconsistent character development, which, by the way, as a fantasy reader and a fantasy author, that makes me sad because your characters are kind of the whole point. Characters
are the point. And that happens to us. I bet that happened to you and that happened to me. But here's the thing, you and I, one, outside of going back and checking to see if we did that, because some of the greatest sins, people, is mistakes with your characters, like they need more development and stuff like that. And combined with the compulsive word, like my first book, I used the word "and" so much. I pissed off my mom because she read it first to do the early editing, and she kept going, all you do is say and. But things like that happen when you go, I'm blind to it. But the thing is, as I was just saying, I had my mother check, and she fussed at me because she wanted me to stop doing that.
Exactly.
Which, in all fairness, that's fair. But in all fairness, that's what you and I do. We have people check to see, am I using a word obsessively? Were my characters developed right?
Yeah.
Is there something, like you were just saying, am I info dumping obsessively?
Yeah. And see, here's the thing is that supposedly she talked about how she had 2 editors. Actually, point in fact, one of the editors was supposedly, and I say supposedly because there's going to be some conspiracy theories we talk on that have not been confirmed. I believe she had an editor, at least one. But supposedly, and I don't know if this
she
was
probably did,
confirmed,
but it wasn't a very good editor.
Well, so what they talked about is one of the editors was actually one of the editors who had done the Hunger Games. So
I'm still sus of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So but I feel like somebody of that caliber would not let their name be attached if they weren't doing it. But also here is something. So before we continue, there is something to be said for if you're a new writer and you have an editor going over the book with you. And usually the process is you and your editor can get into very intense discussions, right? You're like, oh, I want to keep this. And the editor editor's like, well, do you need it? Do you really need it? Da, da, da. You go back and forth. It's a lot of back and forth. And a lot of editors try to kind of point you to things that you might like. They give you the other side as like a reader, or as like somebody who's like coming at this book for the first time, of like, what is the reader going to think about this? So editors are there to not just, I mean, you have copy editors, as we've talked to KT about. You have copy editors who do all the line stuff, and then you have dev editors who go over story details, right? But you know, it's here's the thing. If she really did have like the Hunger Game editors, and I mean, I think a lot of people have read the Hunger Games and fucking loved them.
Yeah.
What this says to me, and this is primarily before we get into everything else, okay, because there's a lot more. We're maybe a third of the way through this, okay? What this
there's a
tells
lot
me
to
is,
go over here.
Yeah, there's and a lot of people did kind of mention, because her response, as Crystal mentioned, to all this criticism, especially about the editing and the characters and the dialogue and the imagery and all this kind of stuff, was she was very defensive. Of course, she's a new writer, she's 22. Like, you don't like having thousands of people, and it was thousands, by the way, coming to your videos, and authors making videos saying, hey, you need to work on this. You can't let this stay published. You have to unpublish it and redo it because it's not at what the best it should be, right? And I think me and Crystal have talked about how indie authors have we have high expectations for ourselves, but the kind of the publishing world has high expectations for us.
We get higher expectations than the track publishers, which, you know, not fair, because everything comes out of our pockets, but
right. But that's the thing. We have very high expectations. And especially when she did such a good job marketing and the artwork, I think people looked at the marketing and they looked at the artwork and they heard her story and they thought, okay, I'm going to get a solid fucking fantasy novel that's going to knock me off my feet. And they didn't get that. And they didn't get that. And that is sad. And so here's the thing. There were some people who were, I think, I kind of want to say before we get into the other stuff, I don't think some people were being the fairest on this. There was a lot of people trashing her. There were a lot of readers who were very like in her comments constantly, which here's the thing for me. If you see 500 comments that already say this book needs editing, do you need to add more? I don't think so. But also,
now you're just jumping on the bandwagon. Right? Let's be honest. You're just jumping on the bandwagon to be a problem. We get it. The book needs editing and everything else. Like, that's just the thing. That's pretty obvious at this point. You don't need to jump on the bandwagon, but that's not my problem. My problem was when Audra started acting like, some of y'all know about the pink sauce woman who was this chef. I can't remember her name. Well, she claimed to be a chef who sold something called pink sauce where people got it. When people got it, it was no good, this, that, and the other thing. And everybody kept complaining about it. At this point, if everybody is complaining that something is bad, don't buy it. Don't complain and say, stay away from it.
Yeah, and so a lot of readers were very upset and wanted refunds rightfully. You know what? Hey, I mean, I can understand. You get hyped up and you want a refund. Now, here's the thing. I'm kind of split on this. I mean, considering the stuff that we have to talk about, I really can't blame the readers for wanting refunds now. But at the time when this was first happening, a lot of authors were like, hey, like you can't, because readers were saying you scammed us. And a lot of authors, I think, were trying to help her out and say, hey, she might have not had the book edited properly, whatever, but you can't really call it a scam if you bought into the hype and then it didn't turn out that way.
That's true, because if you get your product, then technically she didn't scam you. She promised you a book. If she gives you the book, then she didn't scam you. It may not be the book you wanted or expected, but she still gave you the book. Now, if she didn't give you a book, which me is about to get into, then we have a problem.
Then we have a problem. So what happened was, and then the last part of this is that Audra's response was, I mean, admittedly, she's 22. She's a young author. She was very upset. She had crying videos. She was leaving the internet for a while. She was very defensive. She wasn't, but a lot of this she
still has some growing up to do, in all truth.
Yeah, I mean, and she didn't want to take accountability because she had it, and you know that can happen. Like, you're 22, you're a new author, you have it hyped up in your head so much. Like, when you're an author, the story is like you literally live and breathe that story as you're writing it. You like, I can tell you right now,
your story will harass you more than your own children. Mia can attest to that.
And I'm just saying, I'm super fucking excited about this part coming up in my book where I'm gonna hurt a bad guy because I don't like my bad guys, okay? And I'm super, like, I've literally been squealing about this for like 3 days, not gonna lie.
She actually has. She's been excited about it. She said she's gonna hurt this person.
Look,
she won't start talking about it. I keep telling her to shut up because I'm gonna read her book. Stop ruining your story for me.
I'll shut up. I'll shut up. But anyways, I'm like super, because I'm living and breathing this as I'm writing it. So I can see that like young author, I mean, she's been working on this since she was 12, according to her input. And so of course, you know, you don't want to hear that this beautiful thing you created is not up to snuff. And
yeah,
so
that's true.
as a human, that's a lot to take. I'm not going to trash her for her being super defensive. However, she made so many videos. Like, honestly, girl, I would have definitely take a break from the internet, but she didn't just stop. She was in the comments too. She was in the comments, like, fighting for her life. But it was just like no accountability. Like,
and in all truth, it's not necessary to fight with people commenting on things. I did a whole video about this on my channel, Madam Crystal Butterfly on YouTube, where I was talking about how to deal with critics. And how you deal with it is you can read their commentary if you want, but if you feel like they're making a viable suggestion, just take a look at it. Especially if it's something that's repeated, then take a look at their suggestion. If you can't handle it, then you know what? Just don't read it. Leave it alone. Don't attack people for being critical of your book.
And so the thing was, a lot of people wanted refunds because a lot of people were like, we feel like we bought into this universe and it was not as promised. So finally, it took her a while. I want to say at least a month. It took her a while to kind of admit that she did acknowledge there was editorial shortcomings. I don't know that she actually acknowledged that she should have done better and pledging improvements. Okay.
To be honest, I was a little conflicted by that. I think that was mentioned when she said she got a new editor.
And that comes up too. So then as we go on, we have a lot of authors were trying to give her grace and trying to say, hey, she's a new author. Because there were some people being really hard saying this is what's wrong with indie authors, blah, blah, blah. And there was
throw us all in the mix, which is not fair.
Let's do a mob raising against indie authors, whatevs. But so there was a lot of people, so a lot of authors were defending her and saying, you know what, 22, new author, let's give her a break. Now, the problem comes after she has said, I'm going to redo it. I'm going to fix this stuff without kind of still acknowledging that she had a part to play in this, right? Because I don't think she ever just straight out said, I'm sorry, it was bad. I should have done better. I don't think she ever said that. I think she did like a crying video and said editorial shortcomings, and then I don't know that she went on further. But there was a lot of tears, basically, and she did take some time off. And then she did come back, and she ends up, we find out probably half a month after, that she now has a new editor. And she now has, and she's talking. She's like, and I don't know that exactly what she showed. I think I saw one part of a video where she did kind of talk about how she's working on artwork and she's hiring illustrators. And it's like, well, wait a minute. And I think one author said it the best. Let me find him. There was one author, J.M. Clark, on TikTok, who actually I think said it the best. And actually, honestly, he had like the best positive spin on it.
I agree with what he said.
Because he basically talked about how, she, like the way she talked about her book, he's never really heard an indie author talk like that, because a lot of her talk in her videos after that was on the artwork, was on this. I mean, she does kind of talk about the editing stuff.
I agreed with him because from what I saw, she was more focused on the artwork and how the art was looking than really her story, which
and the problem was never with the artwork, though, because admittedly, the 2 credits everybody gave her was the artwork was fantastic and her marketing stuff. So why are you going to sit there and talk about how you're working on this artwork stuff? And that's not the problem. The problem is the book itself has serious editing issues. And then, there were a lot of people talking about what had happened because, people like to theorize. This is the internet. We all got a theory. We all got a conspiracy, right? And a lot of people were talking about how they thought one of the issues could have been maybe because she had supposedly this Hunger Games editor, that maybe she just wasn't listening to the editor, and that can happen.
Some authors are so sensitive. If their editor says anything, they will fight them and refuse to change it. Like I've told you how I read E.L. James's The Mister and how I told you that book needs some serious editing. Remember how we were talking about the repeat words?
Yeah.
The way she wrote that book, she instead of saying maid, she was saying daily, this old school word that you could use for a maid. And she used it so much for 2 weeks, I couldn't stand to hear the word daily. I couldn't even tolerate
Oh my
that word.
God.
And I had heard she had fought editors and stuff and didn't want to
Yeah.
make certain changes.
Yeah.
And a lot of authors can get that way, but the problem is it's detrimental to your book if you don't listen.
And the thing is, if you're not listening to your editor and they're like, if you're like, and I think we have a friend Silas who says this as well. Like, if you are, if you're rejecting like 80% of what your editor is telling you, A, why are you keeping them as an editor? Because clearly you don't agree with them. But B, why are you upset? Like, why are you disagreeing so much? Like, either they're right and you have a lot of stuff you need to work on, or if you're right, which usually is not the case, then why are you paying that editor for their time if you don't agree with them, right?
Yeah, Silas has said that a lot, and I think he does that because he's trying to explain things to a lot of new authors. Most of them don't fight him on that, but sometimes you have those chosen few.
And here's the thing is that you can edit a book and an author can be stuck on, like, I have this idea and this is how I want to express it. And that's not saying they're wrong, but if the editor has given you like a good reason for why maybe it should be reconsidered or like reword it, a lot of editors will try to help you reword. So then this is where we're going to get to some of the shenanigans, okay? Because
the shenanigan.
The shenanigan. Shenanigans. So here's the shenanigans part of this. Everything since that time. So basically, then you come to find out, then you hear that she has a Patreon and a new editor. Yay, let's clap for that. She has a new editor.
But there's a problem.
Oh, there's a problem. Welcome back to Technical Difficulties.
Our big sponsor. Please, we want a new sponsor desperately. Technical Difficulties is a terrible sponsor.
Technical Difficulties, man. Like, if we were getting paid for Technical Difficulties, we would be rich. We would be millionaires. Okay, so besides that, I mean, unless Technical Difficulties is trying to cover up Audra Winter shenanigans. Conspiracy theory.
It probably is. You know, when Technical Difficulties came in, we were getting to the meat and potatoes of the scandal.
I know. Technical Difficulties is like, I can't let the truth be revealed. Okay, so the shenanigans start because supposedly she starts revising the chapters and showing them to people, but not on her TikTok where she was showing. No, what she is doing is has this Patreon behind a paywall, and she is charging people to see her revisions with her and the new editor. And then we have some commentary by the editor, and nobody liked that, by the way. Let me tell you, a lot of people started getting, so all these authors now who have like defended her and said, hey, give her some grace, like new author and yada, yada, yada. Now these authors are kind of like, wait a minute. So wait, you did all this other stuff. Like you had all these breakdowns, you had all these fights, on TikTok. And now you are charging people money to see you revising the book because now, you know, you got all these people who are pissed off because they want money back.
Now it just sounds like a scam.
Yeah. And then this new editor comes out. Well, sorry, before we get to 2 seconds, there was a shenanigan before this. So a shenanigan that popped up that wasn't talked about a lot, but I managed to find it from somebody who literally was like, somebody actually has like an Audra Winters case file, which is not good for Audra Winters. Like if somebody's making a case file on you, that's
not good. Like if there's ever a case file on you or me, then it's like, oh my goodness, our goose was cooked. They figured out how many narrators are locked in your basement.
Right, look, we're not talking about that, Crystal. Anyways, look, the narrators are having snacks. They're fine. Let's walk on. So,
it's more getting them out of the basement is difficult because they want to stay.
You know what? Just simmer down now. Okay. Don't be building a case again. You're on the Audra Winters. Not be Audra Winters. Check your names, Crystal. You're looking at the wrong name. So Audra Winters, what has now been put out, and I haven't seen a lot of the videos, but there were several people who talked about it who said that they did not get their book. They got a bookmark, and then their order was marked for filled, and they were told, oh, you'll get a booked after the fact. This happened shortly before the Patreon stuff. So this was kind of the first shenanigan, right? This was like, and so of course this is serious. Like that actually can be fraud. That can be illegal. You cannot, by the way, if you're a new author and you don't know this, or if you're a reader and you had this happen to you, this is not strictly legal. We as authors cannot not send you a bookmark and not send you, because a lot of us will put extras in our books, like bookmarks, artwork, blah, blah, blah. Like
the stickers. Everybody loves the stickers.
We put stuff in there for the reader to say, hey, we appreciate you. And when you're only sending out the bookmark and not the actual book, that is a big no-no. That is a legal big no-no. So don't do it. If you're a new author,
that's a big no-no. That's a whole lot of you're in trouble. Where the hell is this person's book?
If you are having problems where people are getting your book, they're reviewing it, they don't like it, there's unpublished. Just unpublish it, make an announcement, apologize to anybody who bought the book and didn't get it, and refund them. Don't then continue to send bookmarks and not the actual book. That's a no-no. Don't do that, people. Just believe us, okay? So she supposedly, well, not supposedly, because this was actually confirmed. She does this. I'm not sure to how many people, though, okay? That's the part allegedly. I don't know how many allegedly people she did this to. But this pops up. And then authors are like, wait a minute, you sent people bookmarks instead of books? It wasn't talked about a lot, but
yeah, that crosses the line. Yes, we send people bookmarks, but we also send a book along with that bookmark. It's like, I've told you how people send me books to review.
Yeah.
A lot of those authors have sent me bookmarks, but I also got a book with the bookmark.
Yeah. So it's pretty much like you shouldn't do that. And then we get to the Patreon stuff where she's now on Patreon posting videos behind a paywall of her revising the book and making people pay for it, which, girl, you were happy to put the other shit on TikTok for free. So I don't know why you're trying to charge people to see you redo your mistakes. That's not, that's a little shady to me, honestly.
I mean, she could have at least even sent a free ebook if it was too expensive to send out physicals again. She could have sent everybody a free ebook.
Well, she hasn't even finished it. What I've heard up until this point, it has not been confirmed that she's even finished the edits, which obviously, if it needed that many edits, that's a problem. It's going to take her a while, right?
Yeah, speaking of her editing that book, I was going to get into this, and I'm going to mention it now before I forget, because I was talking to you about this earlier.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember this person's name. I'll probably mention them in future videos, because, you know, we're going to be talking about more, unfortunately, bad books in the future.
Oh, Danny Francis.
But besides Danny Francis.
Okay. We were talking about Danny Francis at one point with this earlier.
Yeah, we'll have our moment when you try to get me to read those 3 pages. Anyway,
oh my God.
So there's this reviewer. She reads bad books most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And she was excited about Archer Winter's book. She thought it might be good, so she was one of the people who got it. And I watch her thing because sometimes she makes good points when there's a problem with the book that I take into account, so I don't do them in my book. But when she reads it, because when she reads it, she does a full breakdown at the parts that are confusing or where you can get lost. Yeah. This book is so in need of some serious editing that her even explaining the parts that were confusing made me feel like, so I'm losing where this book is going or what's going on. And it happened repeatedly that I couldn't even finish the video because my brain was just so like, I can't take any more of it because it was so confusing. And seeing that level of work, it's like her book doesn't need minor edits. It needs serious edits. And I question whether or not with her behavior, she is working on that problem.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that when you have people who are trying to summarize and you're having a hard time listening to that.
Yeah.
That's a problem in itself. So
I couldn't even think about it. Couldn't listen to a summary. That's a problem, so then, like you said.
Okay, so let's get to, she now has this new editor, Caitlin, who is posting, I believe it was her Patreon page. And there's a few posts. And one of the posts that catches everybody's attention and is now talked about a lot is that basically the new editor threw the other editor under the bus, the other 2 editors supposedly.
Which is, to be honest with you, kind of weird because normally if you have to replace an editor, your new editor doesn't really give a damn about your earlier editor. Any complaints they may have had about your previous editor remains between you and the editor, because I did have that type of problem with my first book.
It doesn't get discussed. Like, you don't put it, that's just, it's unprofessional, honestly. It'd be like if you went to work for a new boss from your, like, you don't really want to drag that crap with you, and it's just not professional. Like, I understand ranting between you and the new editor, like, hey, da-da-da-da-da, but but it was a very obvious public post on Patreon.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people had to pay for it or not. So don't ask me if
They
people had to
probably
pay for
did
it.
when you think about it, because she's been
But-
talking about, oh, you got to pay for this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. So basically, the new editor, Caitlin, posts throwing the old editor under the bus and basically talking about how the old editor hadn't edited it enough. And this raised a red flag for a lot of people, because I think as authors, when we hear didn't edit it enough, then why did you keep that person as an editor? Like, that's the first question I would ask, is like, if that person was not doing their job, then why are you paying them money to keep them on? Because if your editor is not getting edits, like, editing can take a long time, admittedly can take a long time. But if your editor is not getting back to you and not giving you good edits, and is, for example, if your editor is saying, hey, everything's good, and I've heard of this happening before, where an editor has told someone, oh, this is great, it's wonderful, blah, 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 but doesn't give any edits, and then somebody else looks at it and says, no, this needs a lot of edits, then yeah, no, you immediately don't keep that other editor, say, no thanks, I'm not paying you anymore, pay them what they're owed for whatever contract you agreed upon, and then you walk away and make sure you don't use them again. So, but here's the thing, she kept that editor for the whole book. So then a lot of authors heard this and said, wait a minute, was it that they didn't edit enough, quote unquote, or was it that Audra was refusing their edits? Because either of these situations can be true. And so this kind of popped up like one or two, maybe like the second red flag that we've already had, other than the Patreon nonsense, right? And on top of this is where it gets kind of just why are we doing this? Petty, I don't know. The editor, Caitlin, then goes on to trash Rebecca Yarros and Lauren Roberts, who have their own fantasy
very
books.
fishy.
And see, here's the thing, is that if you in public as an editor, now here's the thing, I've read Rebecca Yarros's at least the first two books of the Dragon series. I think I was on the third where I paused. But to be fair, they're not terribly written. They have imagery. There's a scene that there's like at least two scenes I can recall now where I was like, what the fuck is this chick doing? Like, I couldn't even do that. So I don't know how you're going to sit there and go from a book that has, admittedly by everybody has agreed this book did not have good imagery. And I don't know how you're going to go from that to look at this. Rebecca Yarros sucks with her world building. Like, how do you get there? And why are you even, because if you're,
it feels like even why is she even wasting time talking about Rebecca Yarros and all this stuff? This isn't Rebecca Yarros's book. Like, I was complaining about E.L. James. When I have problems with my own book, should I be trashing her in relation, or should I be worried about my own stuff? Because what the heck does that have to do with her book? If this is my book, that's the problem.
Exactly. And that is a big thing. And it's like, wait a minute. So a lot of people were not happy. And honestly, I don't blame them. And I will say, Caitlin, I hope your last name is not out there, because I have a feeling a lot of authors are not going to want to work with you after that. Because if you're trashing two authors that you for sure have not worked with, girl, we know you have not worked with them. Like, you cannot be, like, it feels like red herrings. That's what I was saying, is that it feels like, because again, we have this running theme of Audra not taking accountability for what her actions were, which was she did not write, like, she didn't do the book good, and or she may not have listened to editing, whatever the case. And
it's just the book was sorry. It needed better. It probably, from what I heard when the person was reading the book, it needed more than just better editing. She needed to go back, do some better early build up with the characters and stuff. So that when events happen in the story, they made sense, because I understood what the characters were trying to do, but it contradicted too much. And
there was something interesting as well.
Yeah, that shows sloppy world building.
Yeah, there was a post made, and I don't have the date for it, but there was a post made where Audra posted somewhere about, because she was searching for somebody to help her rewrite the book, right? And she was talking about what she would need. And I guess she posted some updates. I'm not sure if it was on the Patreon or where. I'm assuming it was the Patreon, where she's talking about having to redo character descriptions. And somebody brought up that, wait a minute, you're redoing character character, just like, honestly, that should be the least of your worries. Like, if you're editing a book because of lack of imagery, if you have to go to the point where you have to re-edit character descriptions, that's a serious problem. That is, you did not, because like what a lot of authors do is we will do character profiles before books, or like I don't do an official character profile, but I will definitely, I have 32 pages of notes. I think actually I'm at 40 pages. I have a bunch of pages of notes about my characters. I literally have a section for each, for like the city, for the outlands, for all these different, and I have next to the character names, I have like body description, what's gonna happen with whatever dragon that blah blah blah. Like I have a lot of fucking
there's a lot of descriptiveness, because even I have a dossier on a micro little description of who the character is and any special extra I need to remember about them. I have things about, you know, different areas in my world and stuff like that. And the point is, we got like tons and tons of notes on that. Every good author does, because there's stuff you forget when you're writing about these characters. There is stuff that you need to probably even go back and refocus on when it comes to your book. That's why every author has notes.
And the thing is, if you're having to go back to character descriptions, what that tells me is that lack of imagery was on all of it. It wasn't just world. It wasn't just political or societal. If you have to go back to basic character descriptions, then you should have put more time into it, that's not to knock her down. I really mean this. This is not to knock her down, because she's a new author. Like, there's things you learn as you go on. Like, I've been in creative writing. I've been doing English for a very long time in my background. So I know, like, especially because I kind of went poetry first before I got into books per se. And so I know that like imagery for poetry is very fun. You need to draw the person in, right? And and one of the first things you learn in a lot of creative writing classes is you need to start with the basics and go from there. And if you're having with the editor, if you're having to go back to character descriptions, then you should not have published that book. And that's an honest mistake, but like the lack of accountability is not great on this, okay? And
it's just, as a new author, I expect her to make certain mistakes. That happens. But refusing to take accountability for said mistakes is the real problem here.
And the other editor then throwing the last editor under the bus and then trying to act like, oh, well, her stuff is way better than these other two authors. That is also not the way to approach this. By the way, it's not classy. It's not professional. And I'm putting you in a box of not going to edit any of my stuff ever.
Because Mia, you want to hear the only time my editor actually did behave that way? She wasn't attacking other editors. This was back when my brother wanted to promote my book and give a few free copies away. My editor saw a woman. She was one of the people doing a panel, and my brother gave her one of my books, and she smiled and said thank you and all that. And then the second my brother turned around, she put it on a chair and walked off. My editor was above and beyond pissed off, because she was like, if she didn't want the damn book, then she didn't have to accept it, and blah, 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 blah. That is the only time my editor went on attack. Now, when it comes to other editors and stuff, she would side with you with, what are you doing? Why are you attacking this person? Why don't you do your job?
And so that's the thing, is that you can't be, and what it feels like and what it felt like to a lot of people commenting on it was, you know, like at least the way I took it was, okay, so basically you're trying to, instead of saying, hey, Audra was a new author and maybe didn't have all the good advice and whatever, but we're working on it. Like, there's a lot of ways you could have said that, but it's just the whole approach, the post. I mean, I read the post. It was very like, we're going to throw this red herrings. Like, look at this shiny thing. Look at that shiny thing. Everybody else is to blame but poor sweet Audra.
Look at the shiny. Don't concentrate on the fact that Audra probably can't write or is too stubborn to rewrite.
What it sounds like is she needs more seasoning, which is not a bad thing. We all grow. We all learn. That is perfectly okay.
Yeah, because from what I could tell from the story, she probably wrote 2 or 3 drafts of it, then stopped. And a lot of times that's not enough.
Yeah, you have to do more. So anyways, this happened. And so people were starting to get kind of sketchy. Like, a lot of people were like, wait a minute. So now you have this Patreon thing. Now you have this editor thing. Like, it was starting to build up and people were not okay with it anymore. People were like, wait a minute, this is a little, at the very least, not sketchy, but this is a little like, why you're going so above board. And then half the videos that she's coming out with, again, as people mentioned, were on the artwork, which wasn't the problem, right? The book was the problem. So then we fast forward to, I don't even know how do we talk about this. There's this angel investor website, kind of like
yeah, I almost forgot about that. That part came out of nowhere.
Trying to like, there was a graph. I showed Crystal the graph.
I don't get the point of that graph, Mia. I looked at the graph, it still confuses me.
I don't know. I'm just like, what are we talking about, girl? So anyway, basically she goes on this website and she's posting about how she wants to bring in, she needs a huge, because this is for angel investors. And angels investors are people who will give you a lot of money for a certain amount of investment in the company or whatever. Like whatever contract you come up with, right? And they will give you a lot of money for what you're looking for. And honestly, I was kind of losing my mind because the claims on the angel investor website were kind of as follows, right? She talks about wanting to pioneer a new avenue of publishing, and she wants to be her own publisher and distributor, and she wants to what was the other stuff? There was a lot of stuff. I didn't even feel like we were talking about a book when you showed it to me. It was a lot of like, she wants to, I don't even know how to put it, because it was so just like
she was like making a movie type of thing. It felt like we were on a film production, not a book production.
Yeah, it was very like it was wild. So to get into specifics, she basically is talking about how she was basically bragging about how she made $200,000 from April to July, which solely on pre-orders, but again, people didn't like the finished project. She's like, thousands of people are watching us. Experienced team of creatives. Breakthrough new creative industry with intense publicity and traction, setting a path for new literature, blah, blah, blah. And the short summary is basically like investing. No. What was the short? The short summary was a multimedia literature-driven creative studio and publishing imprint with a team of 20 plus illustrators, musicians, animators, editors, and designers aiming to bring fantasy stories to life by merging publishing and art industries. And I basically looked at my boyfriend after I read this and said, so Pixar.
Yeah, because I thought, Marvel, like I said earlier, it felt like more she was working on an animated movie.
Like, you're talking about a production company. You're basically talking about having people, but like, you want a publishing company that also is Marvel or Pixar. And that, I mean, that's a worthy goal. But girl, you haven't even gotten your published, like, to this date, the final finished book from all these re-edits that you're doing has not come out yet. And how are you going to tell an investor that you want all this money to make a production company that's part publishing and production, but you don't even have a first finished copy, and you don't even have it, and then all these illustrators and everything else? Like, what do you like? Okay,
it's too much, and it's TikTok. All over the place, because I'm thinking, wait, lady, are you making a book? Or are you making a movie? You are talking about all this production crap. What the fuck about the re-edits and fixing the problem with your initial story? Because I'm hearing production, artist, and all this stuff. What I am not hearing is progression on the re-edit and revision of this book.
And they're literally talking about by selling, and this is off this website, okay? This is exactly what I'm reading, you guys. By selling and distributing books that bridge the gap between narrative, prose, and artistic storytelling. So fantasy and poetry, we are on the brink of engineering a new method of book writing revision and inventing a new genre of art based in the literary world. But you're basically talking about comic books. I mean, there's comic books. There's, what's the other one? The dark comic books. What are they called?
I can't think of the word. I'm trying to think about that thing that's not a comic book, but technically looks like a comic book.
Yeah, it's like
goodness, it's gonna bother me.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like, what do we? I know
what is it called? I know what we're talking about. The problem is I can't remember the name of it. Graphic novel. Are you writing a graphic novel?
Basically, a graphic novel made into a movie. So Marvel and Pixar. Hi Marvel, hi Pixar. Like that's what she wants to do. Which, I mean, hey, I'm all for people being entrepreneurs, but like the way she even marketed it was then it made a lot of people were upset. Honestly, a lot of people were upset after this because, for example, this is why. And I'm just gonna, again, this is all the stuff stuff she wrote. With thousands of eyes on me, I've been given a huge opportunity to establish a new industry in arts by simply proving myself and leveraging negative press into anticipation. And I have a problem with that, honestly.
Well, for starters, she's not the first one to leverage negative press into anticipation.
Right.
A lot of people have done that. But my problem is, I'm hearing all of this. Oh, she has the opportunity. Blah, da, 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 da. My problem is, what about the book? What about your re-edits? What is the progress with the re-edits, the revision to improve your storytelling?
Yeah. And she brags about all the pre-orders and all the revenue and blah, blah, blah. And she even makes like a graph. And this graph, okay, Crystal's going to show it here because the graph was basically a money graph.
Now to future me, put graph here.
It had 1 year on the bottom, and it had the green line was for turnover, and the blue one was for profit.
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. I'm seeing profits and turnover, and I'm like, wait, what? Okay, I need some more info here.
And then she's talking about how she has all these illustrators and all these people, and she's pioneering. But girl, Audra, for real. Your problem is, where's the finished work? If you're gonna get an angel investor, the first thing they're gonna say is, show me your product. You don't even have it done yet. You're still editing it because, by the way, this last product that you got so much money off of, and admittedly, as we have said before, full credit to her for her marketing. Okay,
I need you to, Audra. If you're not gonna write a good book, here, come and market me and my book. We need your marketing because you are too good at that, and we write quality books.
Yeah, so it's just like, well, I don't really need her marketing for me, Kay, thanks, bye. But I'm just saying, like,
Mia, you saw how much money she made. All she needs to do is not put out a shitty book.
You ain't wrong. Well, let's not call it. I don't want to turn somebody's baby shitty, but not great. But here's the thing, Audra, you cannot be seeking an angel investor and then basically say, well, I'm going to take all this negative press and leverage it to make more money, but with no finished project. Where's the finished book? Where is the book?
I don't know, Mia. Mia, we've been ranting for a while about everything Audra has done. But the main thing that is the serious thing is, what about the damn book? The artistry, beautiful. Your marketing, beautiful. But what I don't see is a beautiful, well-crafted book. Now, for us, we would say it's time-consuming, but not that hard to do. Well, it is hard, but you know what I mean. But it looks like her priorities are everywhere, but on improving her product.
Yeah. And so it's like here. And so finally, her target, I'll just let you know, her target investment was $70,000, minimum $10,000. And they just want to break even in the investor role, but would have monthly involvement. What do you don't have? Okay, look.
Like monthly involvement in what? Because, too many cooks.
But here's the thing. Admittedly, by her own words, she made $200,000. Have you refunded all the people who've asked for refunds? And especially for those people that you only sent bookmarks to who didn't get books, girl, you need to refund them post-haste. If you have
in all truth, the people who got the book and are complaining, I'm sorry it was a crappy book, but, she still gave you your product, so you weren't technically scanned. But the people who got bookmarks or didn't get anything at all, they need their money back.
They need their money. So you're going to tell me you made $200,000 off of this. You want $70,000 more to make this Pixar Marvel hybrid with publishing. That's so new and creative, whatevs. But like, you still don't have a published book. You have Patreon where you're still charging. So basically you're trying to get money on two different fronts. You're getting money from the people who want to find out if you're actually doing what the fuck you're supposed to be doing on this book. And then you're trying to get some investor to give you $70,000. Oh, but there's one more thing. There's one more update, Crystal, right? Because then the next update that comes is that she's leaving the United States. She's moving overseas. I'm not sure where. I don't really care. But she's moving overseas. And a lot of people at this point are like, wait a minute. So there's people who haven't gotten their money back. There's you looking for an investor. And now you're moving, admittedly, with all this money you made off of people. But there's no fucking book. And then they even say in that update, like, oh, things are going to be slow. Like, we're not going to be posting a lot. So please be patient with us. Girl, nobody has the time for for patience with you. Because
really, we don't.
I'm
really,
sorry.
Mia, if I was hearing updates every month about, okay, this part was cleaned up. I see what my problem was here. Don't worry, we cleaned it up. And to everybody who has not received the book, you will be getting this. And to those who received the book that weren't happy, you can opt into getting a free ebook copy, just show blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing that. I'm hearing all this production stuff. I'm
Yeah.
hearing more and more about art. Really, I
Yeah.
feel like she should have just published a book of art and it would have been fine. But that's not what she did and what we're fussing about here. I am seeing no, update that, hey, this part has gotten fixed, little things. I don't hear her, like, she could talk about part 2 and how part 2 is not going to be like part 1. She could talk about how with part 1, this has been updated and fixed. This has been updated and fixed. She could even, if she was talking more about the world and how she's fixing the world building, fine. But we have gotten none of that. All we've gotten is this talk of production and artwork.
Yeah, it's a problem, and it's literally like, I mean, I'm looking at it. Okay, so her last post on her page on her TikTok was the 23rd of August. So she hasn't posted anything for September that I can see. Hold on, I'm gonna double check. Nope, that's 8/6, that's 7/9, and that is 5/2. So the last update she has that was not paid for was revised chapter 1 and editor notes are now posted on our Patreon. That part I guess was free to the public, but then she has nothing else. She has nothing else.
Nada, zip
on her TikTok. Everything is now on her Patreon, and this is not okay. Here's the thing. Realistically, I'm not going to say that she's scamming people with books because, hey, if you got the book and you
at this point, I'm not really going to say she's scammed. Only people I can say should probably feel scammed are the people who did not receive the book.
But
those are the only people who can say I feel scammed. But I'm going to be honest with you, Mia. If someone pays into that Patreon and all this other stuff later and all that thing, and later if she doesn't produce something, say they got scammed, I'm just going to say, well, hun, at this point, it was more than pretty obvious that you should have waited and saw if she produced anything and not invested in this. Because it's getting pretty obvious at this point.
There's people who will be on Patreon who might not be on TikTok. So I'm going to say that, like, if you haven't been following, like, for example, there's some of the stuff, like the bookmark stuff, that I have not widely heard about. I had to go searching because when we were researching the story, I deep dived, okay? I searched. So I found this stuff where this hadn't been mentioned a lot. Like the controversy over the book being badly edited everywhere. The controversy over the editor everywhere. The
bookmark thing, that took a minute, to be honest.
That took me at least 10 minutes to find because it wasn't widely out there. So it's like people may not know. And my problem with her is that, okay, I'm not going to say she's scamming people because I think that maybe that investor per se, but I mean, if she's really sincere about trying to do all that, hey, go her. But here's the thing. The basic problem Audra has, besides the lack of accountability and trying to get money off of people for seeing her actual fix her book, the real problem is broken promises. Because Audra's, like, here's the thing. As an author, our promise to you is when we put out this book that it'll at least be edited, it won't be fucking terrible, and you will have at least a semi-good experience. And readers are passionate people, right? So, like, if they get a book that isn't 100%, they're not happy about it, and they're gonna feel lied to or scammed or whatever, right? Now, I don't think she scammed people, but at the very least, she broke promises. She broke promises to her readers. And the fact that you're trying to kind of monetize this now in this investor post to say, oh, well, I broke these promises to this reader, but really, you should give me money though, because I did manage to get money out of them for it and kind of got away with it. That's what leaves a bad taste on my tongue, and I think a lot of other people's tongues.
Exactly. That's what leaves the bad taste in your mouth, because where is the promise? When you offer a book, you're making a promise to a reader to at least present a interesting story. And if you say that they say you did a poor job and you promise to fix it, then I'm asking, where are you going to keep your promise?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that you, at the basic level, for like Audra, for real, like real talk, at the basic level, you're a new writer, you have all this creativity, that's great. You're a marketing, like I mean, people have been calling her a marketing genius. You did really good at marketing. So
she did fantastic at marketing, see how much she sold, but that's not the problem here.
But the problem is you made a promise to your readers through the marketing that they would get this finished book that didn't just have good artwork or, had this whole world. You promised them a fully fleshed out fantasy, and you did not deliver. And now you're using the fact that all these readers felt cheated that they didn't have this promise kept with them. You're using that to now try to get more money from an investor for this world, Pixar, Marvel, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then you're trying to say, oh, I'm going to move and I'm going to be, because I guess she's going to be living near an editor now. They're going to be working on their book more, but you still don't have a finished product, because at the end of the day, you still, technically when your book got published, it was not finished because, right, it had not been edited properly. So you still have not given the readers a fully fleshed out book. So then why should anybody buy this book from you? Why should anybody invest in you? And why should anybody pay money to this Patreon to see you fix something when you still haven't followed through on the basic promise? Like, at this point, I'm kind of on the reader's side, because at this point, if I'm a reader, and I'll say this as a fantasy reader, if I had like bought into a hype and I got a book, I wouldn't have said scam. I wouldn't have called it a scam, but I would have been like, okay, like clearly this is hard to read. It's not what I was promised. I'm not happy. Me, myself, and I would walk away from this. But maybe there's readers who kept on, because there was readers who was defending her. There were authors who were defending her.
Yeah, that's true, because there were a lot of authors saying, you know, she's a noob, and this can happen with a newbie.
But then she took all this goodwill and she was like, oh, people are willing to give me the benefit of the doubt. So then let me go make a Patreon, charge people money to see revisions for a product that's not finished. And then I'm going to get an investor to give me money again for a product that's not finished. But look at all my good stats. But all your good stats.
I don't give a damn about the stats. Where is the re-editing? Where's the progress on improving your story?
All of your stats are based on a not finished product and marketing. That's all it is. It's good marketing, which is great, but that's not it. Like, why should you be paid for good marketing when you have not finished the product?
Exactly.
It's not okay. And as a fantasy reader, if I had an author do this and I gave them the benefit of the doubt and yada yada yada, and then I see they're going on Patreon and charging people to see revisions, and I'm like, wait a minute, it was free before. And then when it was bad, right? And then I see you talking about the artwork and stuff when admittedly that's not even the problem. And then you're going to get an investor, and then okay, her leaving the country because sucks. Legitimately, me and Crystal can understand that.
Yeah, we would like a flight out of here too. And don't watch us. We are not going to attempt to jump over the Canadian border.
Right. Like we're not going to go party with our Canadian friends. I'm not promising we won't. Anyways.
Yeah, we're not going to visit our Canadian friends and then not come back.
We're not going to camp out in their backyard. Anyways, moving on from that.
Yeah.
Whether you're leaving the country or not, you now and then to hear readers got bookmarks instead of books, girl, you need to apologize.
That's just rude. I mean, because I'm even getting my website finished, and when it is done, I will have book boxes, and I promise you all, yes, you will get cute froggy sock. Yes, you will get a cute froggy pin, but you're also going to get the damn froggy book.
I know, right? And it's like, to me, it's like, you can't break promises. It's like, you can't do it. It's like breaking a promise to a kid. You're like, here, I'm going to give you some candy this afternoon. And then when this afternoon comes, you don't give them candy, you give them a carrot. And they're like,
then the next day they don't get candy.
I want a piece of candy.
And the next day they don't get candy. And the next day, and the next day. When the hell are you going to give the child the candy?
And then you start charging their friends to see how you're making this candy when you already promised this candy. And then you're trying to get money from all the parents into this
you know what it sounds like, Mia? Here's a story that you'll find amusing. Back when my oldest brother, he's my cousin, but he's like an older brother to me. Back when he was a kid, the neighbor across the street had asked his grandma to have him come over and do some work for her. And she was kind of hinting that she would give him something for the work. Yeah. So my aunt had assumed she was going to give him money for the work. Yeah. So she told him to go do it. She's probably, she's an older woman. She needs help, which in all truth, she could have got him to do the work just by admitting, she's old, she needs help. But she was hinting at she'd give him a little green of a money for it. Yeah. And so my aunt was thinking, oh, she'll give him some money. Okay. And then he went and told his friends that, hey, we need to go over to her house and do a little work, because she was implying it was a little work. Yeah. And she may give them some money. So they went, and that little work turned into a ton of work. Yeah. And then when it came time to get the money, she was like, oh, hold on, I'll get it for you. Oh, hold on, I'll get it to you. This goes on for a few days. And she calls all of them to say, hey, come here, I'm going to give you guys something nice because you helped me. She gave them each a single peppermint stick.
Oh my God.
This is what it feels like.
I would riot.
They were mad. He was upset and he was fussing at, he was like, he was telling my aunt, oh, why she gave you some peppermint stick. And she was just talking because the woman was talking like she was going to give the kids money.
Right. So it's
like that.
It's broken promises. At the end of the day, you broke your promise to the readers. And I'm sorry, but honestly, if readers choose not to buy this book and if people don't choose to invest, very good on them, honestly. But like, I don't blame them at all. I think honestly, I'm not saying you scammed readers, but it does feel like you're like, okay, well, they don't like it. So now I'm going to make them pay me to see it become better, when really you should just honestly, you should be posting this shit on TikTok. I don't even know why you made a Patreon, because it comes, it puts an icky layer on this peppermint stick that should have been cold hard cash.
But peppermint stick or pink sauce.
Oh, not the pink sauce. Not the pink sauce. No.
Well, it's leaning into pink sauce territory, because after she does all this stuff with the Patreon and stuff, if there's still no book produced, I am leaning into pink sauce territory. The only thing different is dealing with that probably won't unalive you.
Well, here's the thing is that, readers take their shit very seriously. You don't know.
That's true.
Here's the thing though, is that you better refund the people you didn't give a book to. If anybody got a bookmark instead of a book, you need to resuscitate that yesterday, like 10 days ago, because that's fraud. That's not okay. Second, you need to stop trying to monetize the fact that you, and admittedly, whatever editor helped you, didn't do a good job on your book. That is not okay. It comes off as a. And third, apologize. Like, honestly, the one thing I have not seen her do, I've seen her kind of like cry and basically try to kind of like half cry, half ass apology, but it still wasn't a full apology, because you kept blaming other people and your editor. By the way, editor, side note to the editor, you need to stop trying to trash other authors, because it doesn't.
Yeah, because what are you doing trashing authors and editors?
Who are published.
The problem I'm asking is, new editor. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Go fix the damn book, because that is your fucking job. Your job is not to harass authors and editors. Your job is to fix the damn book.
Exactly. So you need to fix the book. You need to put the book out, and then we'll talk. Then we'll talk about if you deserve. And honestly, if I were you, I would offer a huge discount on this book. Once you get it out there, I honestly think that you should do like 50% off, because if it was as bad as everybody said, and you had such issues that you had to go back to rewriting character descriptions, then I would 50% off this book, or I would do a freebie for like 5 days. And be like, hey, you can get it for free on Amazon right now. Because honestly, this is what you owe your readers. You broke your promise. Now, I don't think you scammed them, but I think at the very least, you broke the promise that is inherent in being an author to a reader, which is to give them a book they can read and not have to edit at the same goddamn time. Okay.
I am inclined to agree. Give a legible book that people can follow.
Yeah. And I wish her the best. I'm not really happy with her actions, but I wish her the best. And hey, if you really want to make something like a Marvel company for books, hey, go for it. But also calm down on the rhetoric, because the rhetoric also is not doing you any favors.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Mia, I feel like she's better at publishing a book than she is writing a book. Well, and marketing. Like I said, if she actually looked like at us and other authors who, marketing is a lot on us, and we'd be happy to hire a better marketer. I feel like that's where more of her talent is.
She has a solid, you could literally solidly offer marketing services, and there's a lot of authors who would probably take you up on it.
They would jump, because marketing is difficult for us. We have to write the book and market it.
But like a month ago, people would have probably solidly, if you were like, hey, I'm going to start a marketing company, you would have a lot of authors sign up, because you did a great job. You did a great job with the marketing and the artwork. Your problem is the actual book, and that's what counts in book talk and the book world, is the book, the finished product. So,
okay, I think we touched all the bases with this story.
Yeah. So, is there any other updates other than
my update is talk about? I was going to bring this up.
I haven't gotten chocolate. That's my update. Go on, Crystal. What were you going to bring up?
Well, yeah, I still need to mail that to you, and I'm sorry I failed with my last attempt to mail it to her, because it's funny, when I was going to mail her the chocolate, then my brother had to borrow the car because some drunk crashed into his car. He wasn't even in the car. He was parked. The drunk crashed into his car and then was talking to my brother like he needed to take responsibility. So now his car's in the shop, and I have been falling behind in errands because he had to borrow ours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but here's some good news. Well, well, it's not bad news. It's kind of good. Okay, I was going to start talking about the book event I am going to next year. Yeah. It's called Another Bookish Ball, and it is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Nice. And anybody who goes, you will get to meet me, Madam Crystal Butterfly, in person.
Ask her for chocolate. If you meet her, Gently remind her she owes me chocolate, and then ask her where to get the Ghanaian chocolate. I mean, I'm just saying, chocolate's a solid thing.
You can go to get the Ghanaian chocolate by going to the grocery store. Freaking Hershey's is Ghanaian chocolate.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's true.
I'm just saying, anybody going to see her there, ask her when Mia is going to get her chocolate.
By the time I'm there, you'll have the chocolate.
I mean, I hope so. I'm waiting. I'm sad.
Mia, it's been 2 months since I meant to mail you that chocolate. I'm not going to go for 4.
I mean, you are talking about bad food in your new book. It has lowered my hopes a little.
Mia, I am not going to sing you a biscuit with undercooked eggplant and bad avocado sauce. I would never do that to you. I'll write about bad food, but I wouldn't feed you bad food.
I hope so, because I'm just saying, if that chocolate is not up to snuff, we're going to have a whole discussion about it.
My goodness, hon, it's good chocolate. I didn't tell you it was going to be like amazing, knock your socks off chocolate. I just told you it was good. You're the one hyping it up.
Anyways, you guys, I mean, okay, so our next episode is going to be, I don't know. There's so many topics right now.
Yeah, so we were going to get into the politics, and I think our interviews are coming. So we're excited about the interviews because we need a break.
Yeah, so we are going to be soon. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks we'll be publishing our form. We'll make a video on YouTube and on TikTok so people can fill out the form and send us information, and we will get you booked and work with your schedule and get some authors out there so you guys can find out, because I think at the end of the day we're here for not just the politics, right? We've been talking about the politics.
We're here for politics, but we're also here for authors. We're also here for voice actors. We're also here for artists, both painting and musical.
We're here for dude, if you can do violin music to a book, sign me up. I literally would love.
I'm sorry, Mia, I can only do cello music to a book. I don't know how to play the violin. I know how to play the cello.
I love I love cello too. To be fair, cello is good, but like violin, solid.
Speaking of cello, I need to restring mine. Pray the string doesn't hit me in the face.
I will. Okay, you guys. So, we will definitely come out with a form. So if you're anybody in BookTube who's an author, influencer, whatever, hit us up. We want to talk. We will post it. We'll post snippets on TikTok. And we'll probably do some live interviews on TikTok. So I will try to make like a schedule so BookTube people can tune into that if you want.
And we will make ads. We will be putting out little mini commercials to our interviews. So if we have a live interview, you guys will know what's coming up.
I have to make some ads. I know. I've been behind because I'm so focused.
No, I want you to make ads for your book. I'll make ads for our interviews, but you need to make ads for your books, Missy.
I'm
serious. Make more ads for your book.
I've got dragons on the brain. Dragons.
I don't care. Actually, me, I'm gonna fuss at you. Make an ad for your dragon book, letting people know it's coming soon. I make ads saying my books are coming soon. I have yet to see yours.
Look, I have a temporary cover, okay? But it's not the best. It's one I made kind of temporary. I have plans, okay? I have plans for my Ruby to help me with the dragon cover. It's in the works. And I will cry when it's done because it'll be beautiful. And then I can flash it around to people. I'm just saying. Anyways.
Well, if Ruby's involved, I know it's going to be pretty.
It's going to be gorgeous. Anyways, you guys, but, we love you. We appreciate you. Please like and subscribe. Please
don't forget to comment
down below. And if you are a book person who wants to get your work out there, whatever it is, post below, and we will,
or a voice actor who wants to get your voice out there, so they'll hire you to narrate stuff, or an artist who likes to sing beautiful songs, or an artist who likes to paint beautiful pictures. So we cover all the creative.
Talk influencers included too. Everybody's
influencers
welcome.
As well. If you like to influence people to do the latest dance, contact us so we can interview you. We mean it.
But here's a warning, you guys, that I have told people this, and I will tell BookTube this too. I've told Book Talk knows. If you do an interview with us, you will have homework, guys. You will. We like to give homework, but it's always fun. It's always happy homework. So just go with the flow.
Yeah, speaking of homework, Mia, you need to do a collage of everybody who's turned in their homework.
I know. It's on my to-do. Oh man, my to-do list is huge. Anyways, you guys, I'm getting away from my to-do list. We love you guys. We hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like, please subscribe, please comment below, and let us know what you think. And we hope you have a wonderful evening and read more books. Take time, read a book, do something relaxing.
Read a book and enjoy.
Right. Have a good night, you guys. Love ya.
Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.